Hi, everyone. I'm with Stephen McAlpine, who's going to share with us from Daniel 6 in a few minutes. But first, I wanted to introduce him to you and ask him a few questions so you get to know him just before. So, Stephen, say hello to everyone. Great to have you with us.
Hi, everyone at Golden Grove over there in Adelaide, one of the other safer states of Australia at the moment.
We've dodged the COVID bullet really well. But poor you in Perth, though. We feel for you with not having the borders open. But tell us, who are you, where you're from, and what keeps you busy during the week?
I'm Stephen McAlpine, originally from Northern Ireland, but lived in Perth most of my life, apart from bouncing back to the UK several times in my childhood and later years. And I am married to Jill, who's a clinical psychologist, and we have two children, a 20-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old boy. Our daughter works at the church that I planted at the moment, so church planting didn't tarnish her in a too bad a way. I spend most of my time at the moment either writing or speaking, and also helping out a church in Perth that's going through some issues that I'm kind of the guy at the moment that they sort of plug and play to deal with stuff. And where I'm preaching, so I'm mainly preaching there and also just helping the staff deal with some issues. So that's my life in lockdown Perth. I used to get around the country a bit to work with CityBible Forum. Still do a little bit of work for them, but obviously it's all on Zoom.
Yeah, as we can see today. So what do you love about Perth? What made you go from Northern Ireland, one of the coldest places in the world, to the sunniest part of our country?
Yeah, well, I don't like the heat, funny enough. And as I've gotten older, I've liked it less. Perth, it's got a pristine beauty to it, I think, in the sense that Perth is a very clean, bright, dazzling city in many respects. So if I compare it to, say, living in Belfast, there's something about Belfast that has a past that's a bit grimy. And also probably it looks a bit grimy from time to time. They've cleaned it up a lot. But Perth has that. We're new here. We're not throwing rubbish on the street. We're trying to keep the place tidy, which has its good and bad points. So it can be a little sterile at the same time that it's quite pristine. So it's not an awful place to live, and it certainly wasn't an awful place to live at the height of COVID.
Great. And what is God doing in your own heart at the moment?
I think he's shaping me away from frustration and towards dependence on him in situations that I can't really control. So you go into a church setting that you need to help, where there are things that they haven't been able to deal with or having to deal with, and it's just stuff you can't do. You have to love people, and you have to be, this is probably an issue for me, be slow to speak and quick to listen. As someone who likes to speak a lot and listen a little, I think slow to speak and quick to listen is something God's teaching me. And I think my wife and I are having a year of doing a lot of things at high pressure and just praying about it in the morning. Basically, it's help, Lord, because here's another week. And as we get a little older, in our mid-50s, we don't have the energy we had at 40 suddenly. And that makes a difference. So praying for that.
Yeah. And you were a journalist too. So I imagine that speaking is kind of your default mode at some point.
Yeah, and my wife is a clinical psychologist, and listening is her default mode at the moment. So she is very good at that and very good at telling me to listen. But I could, people say, we'll pay you to come and speak. I say, I speak for free. I'll start now. And so dialing that down is probably what God probably wants to do a little bit in my life too.
Well, thank you for sharing. What can we expect from your talk then on Daniel 6? What's your 5-second summary of it? Yeah.
Yeah. What's it like to live faithfully for Jesus in a Babylon setting where you have to go to work in the morning and the culture of work is completely opposed to the gospel? How do you push into that and trust God in the midst of that situation?
Great. Look forward to it. And thank you so much, Stephen, for sharing some of your own life with us. And we'll see you in a few minutes back on the screen. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Luke. I'll talk to you soon.